What was Savina like as a person?
Savina was always the one with the one-liner. Always had something super funny to say. She was extremely helpful.
I'd say very loving, excitable, affectionate, that sort of thing. She was always trying to find romance and love everywhere she went. She was spreading love everywhere, so all of her friends, she'd give them little gifts. She'd, hold your hand, she'd give you hugs, and she was very hyperactive, very excitable.
Well, I think she was very outgoing. She liked to just do random stuff, not necessarily random stuff, but she would just went out and just did what she wanted. It was just kind of what she was like.
She was a very bright person. You could tell that she meant well in everything she did. And she became friends with people really easily. It was really funny to walk in the halls with her because she would be like, oh, that person looks cool, I'm gonna go talk to them. And I would be like, me over here who's like, I would never do that.
I don't know, she's one of those people that had an insanely positive impact on the world that pretty much anyone who knew her would agree that there wasn't much bad to say about her. She was very cheerful. Like Mrs. Scholl said, she's hilarious. I remember I was talking to Miss Scholl about her and she called her a firecracker. And that may sound silly, but that is definitely a word to describe her. Just always cheerful, always keeping in touch with others, just always a light,
What did Savina like to do? What were her hobbies?
When I had her freshman year, she was in my intro class, but she helped out with all of our fashion shows, so she was always very, very much a part of our program. She put a lot of time into it, a lot of effort into it.
I mean, okay, number one, she had an amazing fashion sense, but she also has a really nice smile, and she was just she was just an interesting person to talk to. She just had a lot of knowledge about things that I didn't know about, and so it was just you could just have a conversation with her for hours.
I know her teachers liked her. I did talk to a few of her teachers. She was always drawing in class, and they would walk over and see her drawings and be kind of amazed by them, and they liked her a lot. She's got a great personality.
She definitely liked to draw. I saw some of her drawings. They were great. She did a lot of just artistic stuff in general. She took some art classes. She also liked watching anime, some of which I have also seen, so that was kind of something that we had in common.
At her funeral, all her art was displayed and every single person could walk by and you could just see their face light up. She was incredibly talented. She would express every emotion that she could possibly have with just drawings.
Her hobby, she loved to draw, and she loved music. She made so many playlists, a bunch of different, she'd cycle them under different emotions. She'd organize them very well and very aesthetically pleasing, and she loved to draw art. She drew me a lot of pictures, loved to make stories and be super creative. She'd have stuff all over her room from different stories she'd made, just taped on the walls and stuff.
She always came in with the best outfits, and we always talked about her clothes and all of her necklaces.
She was very into fashion, and so she would have a bunch of layers of clothing and bracelets and necklaces galore. Just all over her fingers were a bunch of different rings.
We both wore a lot of rings, so we would take them off to eat lunch, and then we would trade them and wear them just for fun, and then we would take them back once lunch was over. But
she was really invested in the arts. She was constantly listening to music or branching out to find different shows to watch, or constantly drawing. I feel like every time I turned around she had a piece of paper on her or was asking for a piece of paper and was drawing stuff. And it was really random what she would draw, because she would never really expect it. Because some days she'd be drawing tarantulas, and then other days she'd be drawing little fairy princesses, and it was just really random stuff.
She put a lot of detail into her work, which was really cool. It was fun to see what she was coming up with.
And she was like, if you saw her down the hall and she was talking with a friend, she'd be like laughing hysterically and like talking with her hands, and just like kind of like just a very loud personality, very bright personality, and she definitely stood out.
I think she was definitely more like the fun one, the sort of like rebellious type, I guess, you know? She just like I said, she just did what she wanted, you know? Like, she didn't really feel like she needed to follow any rules, and I think that's part of what made her unique.
The song Low by Flo Rida, which is so random, because it was playing in fashion class, and she was like, oh my gosh, this would be so funny at my funeral if I ever died, if you played that as I was getting lowered into the ground. And so we actually, at the fashion show that happened that year that she had passed, we actually played that to end the night, and it was nice.
She was always in a great mood and always made other people laugh. And yeah, she was just kind of like a ray of sunshine.
It was nice to know that she was just thinking about you even when you guys weren't physically in the same room. She was, you know, always thinking, oh, would this person like to go to this place I'm going? And that's just so it shows how much she really cared.
But no, all around she was just upbeat, supporting others, just a great girl.
She would just say and do the most random things, and she always managed to know what to say in each sort of conversation that occurred, and there was never like a dull moment where she didn't know what to say.
So we spent a lot of time in class just talking and trying to wrap our heads around her passing away.
The sort of grief never really goes away, because what happened was a tragedy, and when tragedy just strikes like that out of the blue, it's very hard to get over it, you know. For the first like few weeks after it happened, it was really, really rough.
Well, I don't really know how to feel, because I feel like I never really fully like went through the entire grief process, because I just tried to like ignore it. But I still like am aware that it happened, and it's still rough, it still hurts, but I think, you know, it'll get better with time eventually.
And I didn't really know how to feel. I genuinely don't think I processed it until maybe 2 weeks after.
I went through a lot of denial at first. I just didn't believe it was true. I thought someone was pranking me or something. I don't know. I've never experienced that kind of sadness before. I've never experienced grief. I don't know, it was rough. It was rough. I distanced myself from others just because it was always on my mind.
Coming up, you know, last month was the anniversary of it all happening. It just came flooding back again. I could not believe that it was a year. A whole, like, that just is insane to me.
It's definitely been rough. There are still different things that do trigger a lot of emotion. Like, there's certain places and certain songs and stuff, but I've had a really good support system through it all, and it's been getting easier. She always wanted her hair to be pink. It was green shortly before she passed, and my friend, who I actually now consider my brother, him and I both actually dyed our hair pink before her funeral, because she was begging our entire group in fashion. She was like, guys, we need to dye our hair pink.
What are you going to miss most about Savina?
I'm gonna miss the way she just really, really cared about you. Like, you could just tell. She wasn't afraid to hold your hand or hug you, like I said. She was just like very, very affectionate, and she was always thinking about you.
No, just her smile. Gosh, I can picture her. Oh no, I'm gonna start crying. Just sitting and working so intricately on her things, but always had a smile on her face.
Just getting to talk to her, really. She always knew what to say in conversation and had this great personality.
just her smile, you know, it's so iconic, and it'll just make your entire day. And I miss how funny she was too. I miss even just small talk means so much. Like every morning she'd come to our circle and she'd just kind of make your entire day.
If she were here right now, what would you want to say to her?
I love you is probably the main thing. Like, I really, really love you. And there's sometimes a stigma around saying I love you to your friends, but once you lose a friend, you realize that that stigma doesn't matter. That if she were here right now, I would say I love her 1,000 times and just give her a big hug. It's not so embarrassing once, you know, your opportunity has gone.
Or just hug her and tell her sorry for not knowing. We lost a really cool girl. So she had a lot to give, and she just loved other people and supported them and made them laugh.
How I connect with people is through music, so I guess I would just like tell her like, hey, this song came out and I think you would have really liked it or enjoyed it or something.
That's kind of hard to figure out because part of me would want to be upset, but at the same time knows that I shouldn't be. If anything, I'd probably just give her a hug.
You have no idea how loved you were. You have no idea how much of an amazing impact you made on this world when you were here. We'll never forget you, and every 14th of November, we remember how amazing you were.
What would you want to say to anyone watching this?
No, I would just say to everyone to make sure you're checking up on people, even when you don't know they're struggling, to pay attention and ask how people are doing, even if it's somebody that always looks like they have their life together. Sometimes it's an act, and just check up on your friends and your classmates.
She was genuinely an amazing person who has definitely left a lasting impact on the people who have known her.
Always check up on your friends, no matter how well they seem to be doing, no matter how good their grades are, no matter how many things they have planned in the future. Always check up on them. You never know the warning signs. I did see warning signs in Savina. She would try and give away lots of money. She would try and give away everything. She had a lot of kindness in her heart, and you could see that very clearly.
Tell your friends you love them. Really show them that you care. Keep them in your thoughts. You never know what someone's going through, and even though we never thought that what happened would happen. So just always make sure, and it's not your fault if something terrible happens. There's only so much you can do. You shouldn't feel guilty. They wouldn't want you to most of the time. And just like show affection to your friends. Do what Savina did. Show that you care. Just be caring to other people, especially those you love, because you never know when they might be gone, and you got to cherish every moment.